And welcome back here to Home Track Heroes on CW11. We're coming up next. It's going to be our NASCAR Street Stocks. And, you know, I know you love this division. I'm maybe a little bit partial to the BECU mini stocks, but this Street Stock division has been so much fun to watch.
It really has. And what has been neat about it is the level of improvement this season by the drivers and the people, the guys that we have seen making it up to the Angel Lewin's podium. Just kind of the mix changes every week, so I like that part of it. Makes it fun. All right, let's bring you the lineup for our upcoming main event in the 51 on the outside. You'll see him here in just a second. There's the Speedway Chevrolet pace car that's provided to us every year by these guys. Jeff Watson in the 51, brought to you by Stack Design and Construction. And outside of the 51, the 49, Cuz Septic Service out of Arlington, entry of Calvin Miller. In the second row, Bruce Prendergast in the Cheyenne Scale Company number 25. Outside of the 25, the Tom Glithero spotted Stein's Tap House entry, the 19 of Jake Grant. Next row back, the 44 Direct Carpet entry of Mike Marthaler. And rounding out that row, Colin Hubbard in the 14, sponsored by Lawn Doctor.
Sponsored by Beecher Motorsports, it's the 45 of Nick Beecher on the outside. Sponsored by Emerald City Harley-Davidson, the 1 of Ted Lindgren. Next row back, All About Transmission and Automotive sponsored 16 car of Scott Perkins. On the high side, brought to you by Whiteside Steel, it's the 17 of Madison Vukov. Next row back, brought to you by J2Parts.com, it's the 6 of Doug Poirier. And on the outside, brought to you by Interstate Batteries, the 41 of Mark Hubbard. And rounding out the pack, sponsored by Clarity Farms, the 24 of Thomas Sherman.
All right, there's your lineup. They are going to be led to the front by Jeff Watson and Calvin Miller. The Speedway Chevrolet Camaro pulls off, and it is now in the hands of the competitors on the track. Coming out of turn number 4, get those V8s wound up, and we are underway. And a great start early by the 51 on the pole, Jeff Watson.
Yeah, you saw the 49. We were talking about Calvin Miller earlier on in the heat race and how much fun it's been to watch the 49 improve. And we saw just on that restart coming out of turn number 4, it looked like Calvin Miller got a little bit loose and maybe that impacted just a little bit. But here we see a great move there by the 25 of Bruce Pendergrass, trying to work to the low side of the 51 of Jeff Watson and able to get around as the 25 of Pendergrass.
Yeah, it does a really nice job. I have been super impressed with Bruce Pendergrass coming in. And he didn't start off the season with us, but boy, when he brought that 25 out, that thing went straight to the top of the charts. It was really impressive. There's a good battle between the 44 Marthaler on the outside, a little bit loose in that 44. Nick Beecher in the 45, who has had a super season. I have been so impressed with that young man, and a couple of podium finishes this year for the 45, and look for good things to come out of that. Colin Hubbard in that 14 looking pretty sporty as he is working the outside of Ted Lindgren, the defending champion in this division in that number 1 car, as they're looking to try a way to get around Calvin Miller in his 49.
Yeah, it looked like out of turn number 2 and all the way down the backstretch, I thought Colin Hubbard was going to be able to pass on the outside because Ted Lindgren in the 1, it looked like he was literally pushing the 49 of Calvin Miller around turn number 2 and down the backstretch. But now we see here Ted Lindgren making a great move to the low side of the 49 of Calvin Miller into turn number 3 and just easily be able to pass around out of turn 3 into turn 4 as they come down the front stretch with that great camera view.
Yeah, these guys had another element to keep track of and to be aware of, and that's track temperature. I mean, there was a pretty decent amount of sunshine beaten down on that 3/8 track all race long, as we see the 16 machine there of Scott Perkins as he is going down into turn number 3. Scott, just one of them kids that just learns every time he comes out, and it's that's all we can ask for him to do. But they've got to keep track of that greasy track as we've got 6 laps in. We'll have 7 and 23 to go as Pendergrass takes that 25 across the line.
So Pendergrass looking awful good here early on in this main event. The 51, Jeff Watson, currently in second. Jake Grant in the 19. We talked about Jake a lot in the heat races as well, and Jake looking very good in the 19 car as they come out of turn number 4, single file as they come down the front stretch. Still Bruce Pendergrass, 22 laps now remaining in the 25 car, able to pass by low on the low side of the 24, Thomas Sherman, and there's an issue. Yeah.
Oh boy, talk about an issue. That's the 6. We were just talking about him too, the All About Transmission an automotive car of Scott Perkins takes the wild ride off of turn number 3 up into, didn't go quite as far as several other competitors have gone this season long, one of which was a Kenworth semi-truck that took that very same approach and went down to it. This will be a good shot here. There's another motor launch. And that thing has seen its last days of competition on any kind of a restart. So we'll get him grouped back up. I did want to mention to you and to our viewers, I wasn't trying in that last winner's interview that we did, I wasn't trying to come across as all Jay Leno fan-like with my denim shirt on. That was a shirt that was given to me about 20-some-odd years ago by the great Hollywood Gary Cressy, and I thought, what no better night to whip that baby out than on driver reunion night. So that was so honored to be able to have been given that shirt so long ago by such a great guy and my mentor in this announcing racket. So there it is one more time, the yellow Speedway Chevrolet Camaro pace car that is with us for another season. That'll put Pendergrass and the 51 of Jeff Watson, and just can't say enough about the run that Jeff Watson, I know we're only 8 laps into this, but this car is really going to make a statement, I think, in this race.
In row number 2, it's going to be Jake Grant on the low side, Mike Marthaler in the 44 on the high side as we see them coming into turn number 3 now. The Evergreen Speedway pace car taking that access road, so we have everybody lined up, starting to accelerate coming into turn number 4 and down the front stretch. And look at that, Pendergrass, nice jump once again as we are under green as we come into turn number 1, trying to hold off that 51 of Jeff Watson as we come out of turn number 2. And there goes Pendergrass right back out in front.
You know, one thing I just noticed, and you probably won't be able to pick it up as the camera pans by, but there's a group of people that are sitting down on the very front as close as they can possibly get to the fence, and they're all dressed in yellow and black. And that is the family of Todd Simonson, who for years in this class drove a car number 07. And unfortunately, we lost Todd last year. And he was just one of those competitors that you just always really wanted to see do well. He raced exactly how it should be done, and that it was so cool to see that family down there paying respect to Todd, and Todd was just one of the great guys that ran out here at Evergreen Speedway. So you can kind of see him down there with the yellow and black, and that's the Simonson family, and it's so good to see him here as part of Driver Reunion Night presented by BECU. Also want to remind you, at Coastal Community Bank, community is our middle name. Our bankers take time to understand your business and help it move forward. Visit coastalbank.com to find a banker near you. They're an equal housing lender and member of the FDIC. So thanks a lot, Coastal Community Bank, for being a part of Home Track Heroes here on CW11 and Evergreen Speedway. One of our big signs that we have up on the 5/8 in the background you'll see here as the night goes on. So we are just about to the halfway point of this race for our NASCAR Street Stocks. Single file action all over the course.
Yeah, you know, Steve, you talked a little bit earlier about the drivers having to be aware of the track conditions. And we've seen a couple of guys coming out of turn number 4. Mike Marthaler, we saw the 49 of Calvin Miller. Just out of turn number 4, it seems like some people are having a hard time. They're getting a little bit loose out of turn 4, so I'm not sure if that's a track or just maybe a little bit aggressive in turn number 4, but definitely one to watch as we look back up to our leader of Bruce Pendergrass in the 25 with that nice lead over the 51 of Jeff Watson coming into turn number 3 and now turn number 4. See if it's any kind of an issue here, but doesn't look like so for the 25.
You know, the one thing that repaving and kind of reconfiguring the 3/8 that in a joint project between Evergreen Speedway and Snohomish County and Granite Construction, when they kind of reconstructed the 3/8, and you see it here when they come out of turn number 4, see those little diagonal lines that come across in that V? That used to be quite a tabletop, it used to be called, and guys would kind of use that. If they hit it just right, it really got the car to hit that turn and just snap that car to go straight down the front stretch, and that's been taken away. But I'm kind of wondering, like you said, sometimes they don't want to, they try so hard not to get so close to that offset, how it goes down, that that might have something to do with what you're talking about, and too the fact that the track is just probably at this point the sun is just beaten down on it. Yeah. We've still got a Pro Late Model race to put on the 3/8 track too.
Yeah, so right here we see Mark Hubbard in the 41 battling back and forth with the 19 of Jake Grant as they come down the front stretch into turn number 1. There's also the 45 Nick Beecher, who's had a great season. You talked a little bit about him as well, but Nick Beecher having a great job. And there goes Matty Vukov. So,
Matty.
So in the 17, the red 17, Matty Vukov gets spun around there in turn number 1, does a 180, and that's going to bring out a caution flag here for our NASCAR street stocks.
All right, they've been looking pretty good so far, and we've still got a lot of laps left to go, a lot of racing in this edition of Home Track Heroes. And again, get on to evergreenspeedway.com. Get your tickets for the upcoming Showdown, the Summer Showdown, 2 days, the 23rd and the 24th of July. Action like we have just been really dying to have since we couldn't do it last year. That's going to make it even more exciting. So Summer Showdown coming up July 23rd and 24th, and a lot of cars you're going to see on this very same track, the 3/8. And these guys you will see on Saturday on the 24th are NASCAR street stocks, and a lot of these guys will love to race in front of big crowds. We had a great crowd tonight coming out for reunion night, but I think on the 23rd and 24th we're going to have some pretty special things going on. All right, the pace car has its lights out. It will make that hard left-hand turn onto the access road, and love that shot. That is such a cool shot as we get it lined up with Bruce Prendergast in the inside in the 25. Jeff Watson having the race of the year for that 51 car up on the outside, and let's turn him loose.
Yeah, and you see in that second row on the high side, the 41 of Mark Hubbard, I believe your current points leader in this division, as he's kind of battling here with Jake Grant in the 19. Jake doing a great job jumping out there, and here comes Nick Beecher getting side by side with the 41, but not for long, as Hubbard is taking that outside lane trying to get, and there he goes getting a little bit loose. There's a 41 of Hubbard out of turn number 4, and so now he's going to get just right in front of the 45 of Beecher as we come out of turn number 2. In single file we are.
I think the reason Jake Grant is doing so well, he's just being so expertly spotted with Tom Guthrow being pounded into his brain. I mean, how could you not with that expertise?
The Hall of Fame wisdom.
The Hall of Fame wisdom and Hall of Fame spotting of Tom Guthrow. And it's too bad we couldn't get you. We were able to do a little bit of eavesdropping on their transmission. And it's probably best if we don't put that on TV. Because
Jake Grant was doing a lot of listening to the Hall of Famer, wasn't he?
He was. Boy, look at that, the 41 car. Mark Hubbard looking extremely stout as he's going to take a look down on the inside. Just didn't quite get enough of a rip off at turn number 2 to get underneath the 19 of Jake Grant, as we are under 10 laps to go. Still Prendergast, Watson, and the 19 of Jake Grant. And with Hubbard in the 41 right behind him, and it looks like the 45 of Nick Beecher still in there too.
So there's the 49 Calvin Miller trying to hold off. We have Colin Hubbard in the 14 and Mike Marthaler in the 44 as they come into turn number 3, now into turn number 4. And back to your leader, the 25, Bruce Pendergrass, coming down the front stretch into turn number 2 now, as you see Jeff Watson following closely behind. And now Hubbard in the 41, Mark Hubbard able to pass by the 19 of Jake Grant as they come down into turn number 3. And there's a great battle there, the 49 Calvin Miller and the 14 of Colin Hubbard as they come into turn number 4. But so Mark Hubbard able to get by the 19 of Jake Grant, and now trying to chase down the 51 of Jeff Watson as we have 6 laps remaining.
You know, I may be wrong, Greg, but I'm thinking the reason that Hubbard got around the 19, I think his how do I want to say, his concentration was a little bit off, as he was probably trying to turn his radio off. Jake Grant was. Just had enough of Tom, and but he'll turn it back on and get it back going. But a great run by the 19 of Hubbard, and still hanging in there. I should be in the 4th spot as we got 5 to go.
All right, still looking here at Colin Hubbard in the 14. There's a 44 Mike Marthaler chasing the 49 of Calvin Miller as they come down the front stretch. 4 laps remaining as we come into turn number 1. Great job there by the 14 Colin Hubbard. He's been a fun one to watch. It's always fun to talk about all the Hubbards that we have racing in this street stock division, but Mark Hubbard getting the best out of the Hubbards so far, and there's a great battle right there with the number 1 of Ted Lindgren, and it's the 19 of Jake Grant as we see Ted Lindgren able to pass by on the low side. As we go back out to your leader, the 25 of Bruce Pendergrass into turn number 3.
This was kind of a different race, obviously, for a couple of drivers and a couple of cars in this field. One is the 1 of Ted Lindgren and the 44 of Mike Marthaler. And I know that Mike has been just pouring his heart into this program and trying to get that 44 car to perform better and to, so we got some smoke coming out of one car. It looked like it might be the 6 as the white flag's out. But uncharacteristic runs by the 1 car and the 44, but they'll be back. Pendergrass still is about a half a track away from a really nice colored flag he wants to see waving as he comes out of turn number 4, and he's got the 51 of Jeff Watson in his best run in Mark Hubbard finishing 3rd.
Yeah, the 51 Jeff Watson, it was his first year racing, and so much fun to watch, and such a great, and to be able to hold off the points leader, the 41 of Mark Hubbard, but just to see the 51 having such a good race tonight, so much fun as Pendergrass takes a victory, and we're going to head on down to the Angel of the Winds winner's circle with interviews now. So, Bruce, we saw a lot of emotion out of Jeff. I'm not sure how nervous you were getting as you had a pretty substantial lead, a couple of cautions, but he started running some pretty quick laps. Were you checking him out in your rearview mirror?
Oh, yeah, he's running good. He was a threat. Now we got to watch out for him. Yep, I'm glad he did great. Happy for him. Yep.
So great podium for you tonight. First place. What does this win mean for you tonight?
It just feels good to get another one. Dave Lund, Doug Poirier, who drove the 6 car tonight, Ed Adams, Dwayne Shosbeck, Denise, they all helped make this possible. And family, sisters, their family, mom and dad, aunts, uncles, and my daughter Samantha, they watch this on TV. So good group of people supporting it.
So they're going to be seeing you next Sunday on CW11's Home Track Heroes. Any other sponsors you need to thank for getting this victory tonight?
Cheyenne Scales helps us out.
Who's this big crowd of people out here cheering for you tonight, Jeff?
My family, some of my crew. This is crazy. It's my first year. I never thought I would be up here this early, and I got so many good people to thank. My mom, my dad, my brother, Scott Lacrosse. Those guys spend all week on the car, all week till 9 o'clock at night. This is just, it's amazing. It's hard to even to describe how I feel right now. I got to thank Stack Design and Construction. I got to thank H2 Engineering. They helped me with the setups on the car. This is incredible. I can't even describe this right now.
So you could definitely see there's a lot of emotion right now on the podium tonight.
Yeah.
So tell us what this really means to you tonight out here getting in second.
This means everything. I mean, a year ago I was in the stands watching the races. I helped a good buddy out, my buddy Jeff Miller. I got to thank him too. I wouldn't be standing here without him. I came out and I crewed for him for a couple years, and then I thought, why not me? Why can't I be driving, right? And we just put so much effort into this car, and everybody puts so much time in this car. I mean, you guys just see what we bring out on Saturday, but the race is won on Monday through Friday, and these guys grind it all out. I mean, this is for all these guys. It feels so good to put this car up here after all their hard work, and this is amazing.
Mark, you got a few people cheering for you out there. Nice to hear, but your current points leader, you were kind of in the middle of the pack there for a little while. You and Marthaler kind of got into it a little bit, but you had such a great race, able to pass by Jake Grant and show up on the podium tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with that left rear tire going down, but that's 2 races out of the last 3 that we've started at the back because of it. Chuck's doing a great job. Just not enough bite. Get a little bit more drive off the corner, we'll be good. Thank you.
Who do you need to thank for being out here tonight?
Oh gosh, my mom and my dad. Rick's Tire and Service, Rick Chevron, Interstate Batteries, Allstate Batteries and Service, Let's Sack Cancer, and a new associate sponsor on our car is Lawn Doctor out of Bothell and Redmond. Thank you.